Too often times we hear people talk about what we don't have or what they wish we had. So my approach to this is just to help share with people what all is available. When people start to become more engaged, then it just makes everything richer. Hello again, everyone, and welcome back to our community. Coming to you live from the I've Decided Studios in Peoria, Illinois, and the Our Community Vodcast, sponsored by both I've Decided and the Greater Peoria Family YMCA.
All right.
And for those of you in the I've Decided community, you certainly know all about I've Decided and how it is a business that is dedicated to helping you achieve your personal and professional goals. And then, of course, the YMCA is a charitable not-for-profit committed to putting Christian principles into practice through all of its programs to build healthier bodies, spirits, and minds.
Yes, we are
For all,
dedicated
right?
to helping you reach your fitness goals.
Yep. And we like to say at the Y, when you belong to the Y,
You belong to something greater.
that is right, the Greater Peoria Family YMCA.
Yes.
With me again this week is my co-host, Ryan Hennon.
Hello.
Ryan,
Thanks for
say
having me
hello to
again,
everyone.
Andy. Yep.
We are the Y Guys.
All right.
I am the president and CEO of the Greater Peoria Family Y, and Ryan is our Senior Director of Mission Advancement.
Yes.
And we are excited to be here today. And we are going to talk to you about the word measure.
And
But,
sorry,
go ahead.
and specifically measuring success.
Yes, measuring success, which we all should be doing in just about every facet of our life, really, if we want to be successful. But before we do that, Ryan, why don't you just take a couple minutes and share with everybody some of the good news and things that are happening at the YMCA.
Yeah, so we have, as usual, we've got a lot of stuff going on at the YMCA. First and foremost, we have our annual scholarship campaign is going on right now, and we're going to, through the magic of TV and the magic of the internet, we're going to put the link for you here, but you're going to head over to peoriaymca.org/ASC 2021 if you want to make a donation. That it'll help us to make those programs at the Y available to everyone. The Y dedicates about $300,000 a year towards helping people participate in programs and supporting them, and you can help support us by making a donation to the Y today. We also have some really fun things coming up in September. We've got Paddle for Peoria. And if you've never heard of a dragon boat race, we are going to have the Paddle for Peoria Dragon Boat Festival on September 11th down on the Peoria Riverfront. It's going to be a great time. If you're interested in learning more about that, head on over to Facebook and type in Paddle, the number 4, Peoria, and check it out. Also, because there's even more, coming up in August, we've got date night daycare, and this is for members and non-members. So mom, dad, parents, grandparents, if you want a night free from the kiddos, just head on over to peoriaymca.org, check out date night daycare, give us a call, sign up. It's $10 for members. It's $15 per kid if you're a non-member. We're going to have all sorts of fun for the kids, including we're going to blow up our giant video screen and maybe play some video games, watch some movies, and then just have a great time at the Y.
$15, that's a pretty cheap babysitter.
Yeah, for the whole night. And I believe they get some pizza and some snacks and things like that.
Fantastic.
It's going to be a great time. And finally, we're excited to announce the return of a men's basketball league starting in September. And again, more information, check out our website or our Facebook page. And yeah, we would just love to have you join us in one of the great things we've got going on.
Absolutely. Well, thanks for doing that. Lots going on at the YMCA, and we'd love to have everyone involved.
Yes.
So, very good. So, all right, let's get on to the subject of our discussion today, which is the importance and the approach to measuring our success, right?
Yes.
And we saw in Kim's weekly winning article, which came out Sunday night, for those of you that are in the I've Decided community, really good article that outlined 4 metrics of measuring success, and we're just going to unpack those a little bit for you today. So, but before we get into that, let's do what we always do. Let's define the word just to kind of set a foundation for what we're talking about. So when we talk about the word measure, the definition is pretty simple, and I think everybody kind of gets that. It's an amount or degree of something. Pretty simple, I think pretty easy to understand. But through the magic of Google, I looked at, Googled the meaning of measure, and of course, find some more definitions there, right? So, to estimate or assess the extent, quality, value, or effect of something. That sounds a little bit like what we're talking about,
That
right?
sounds
Doesn't it?
more like what we're talking
Yep.
about.
A plan or course of action taken to achieve a particular purpose.
Taking a measure.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So we just want to talk a little bit today about what was lifted up in Kim's article of the 4 metrics to measure success.
Yeah. Before we get into that, though, when you sent me this, when Kim sent this to us, what came to mind was something that you say quite often, and it's a pretty common phrase, but I think it has some bearing here, and that is, what gets measured gets done.
Yeah.
And when we're talking about success, if we're not thinking about measuring our own success, then it's going to be really hard for us to feel successful.
Yeah, absolutely. Because
So-
you don't know how you're doing.
Yeah.
If you never measure it,
So
right?
it's
If you
important to-
never keep track of your success and your progress, it's hard to hold yourself accountable, or
Yes.
harder to hold
Absolutely.
yourself accountable, I think. So I think that's absolutely right. And I do say that a lot, and it's said a lot to me. So I think it's something that I've just kind of carried with me and have kind of developed as part of who I am in my leadership style. And it's helped us at the Y, the implementation of our strategic plan over the last few years and the way that we measure our progress for all of our goals and outcomes and things like that. It keeps those things right in front of us because we're looking at them, if not daily, weekly, right? And getting and measuring all of those things. So it is really important. If you want to be successful, you got to measure.
Yes. You want to
Yeah,
be
you have to
successful,
measure.
and if you want to feel successful, you have to measure that too.
That's good. A little bit harder to measure your feelings, though. A little different, right?
Yeah.
But so in the article, Kim talked about the 4 metrics of measuring success. The first one, probably written a little bit different in the article, but I just labeled it as conviction,
Yes.
right? Are you convicted by what it is that you're trying to do? Do your daily actions align with whatever your desires are?
Yeah, this one, for me, is, can lead, if your actions don't lead toward your conviction, what you're convicted about, and ultimately to your success, that can lead to feelings, again, of maybe depression, guilt, and for me, those are it comes down to the decisions that we're making, and not necessarily the decisions we make when we're, when we're in a meeting or we're talking about things or we've got people around us that are there to hold us accountable. It comes down to the decisions that I make or we make when other folks aren't around.
Right.
Am I going to choose a healthy snack over the donut? Am I going to instead of just sitting on the couch and binge watching something on Netflix, am I going to go to the Y and get on the treadmill and watch that show? Am I going to put Netflix away and play with my kids?
Right.
It's those kind of decisions that I think ultimately lead to, feeling like you're being successful, like you've done something positive for yourself instead of something that maybe isn't negative, but doesn't add
It's
to
not
where you
pushing
want
you
to be.
forward.
Right, it's not moving you forward.
If it's not aligned, if your daily behaviors, we'll call them, or your daily habits, or whatever it is that you're doing, and we're not talking about everything that you do throughout the day, but if the things that you're doing in your life aren't aligned with what your personal goals are or your professional development goals, then you're going to find it a lot harder to be successful because you're not investing your time wisely. Right, as far as how it relates to that particular initiative or that particular piece of your life.
Yep.
And so you have to be convicted by it. It has to mean something to you, right? So I think that's a really good first step.
Mm-hmm.
Is if no matter what it is, or what you're trying to become or be, or whatever the end result is that you're trying to accomplish, if what you're doing today isn't set up to move you forward towards that,
Right.
it's going to be really hard to get there.
Yeah.
And I think that's a really important point. So it's got to mean something to you,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. And you have to make the tough choices when you're by yourself in your own space to keep you moving forward.
Oh, yeah, that's very good. Because that's an area where, when we're alone is where I think we struggle the most,
Mm-hmm.
right? And I think that's a really good point, and which kind of leads us into the second
Yeah.
critical measurement, which is influential relationships.
Right.
Is-
Surrounding yourself with the right people.
Right.
And
Do you have people in your life who are helping to hold you accountable? Number one. Do you have people in your life who are successful in their own right and who have maybe had experiences that you're going to experiences or can relate to some of the challenges that you're faced with?
are they supportive of your convictions?
Yep.
That's one of the great things about I've Decided is you've got somebody built in there to keep
Right.
to help you keep track of
Yeah,
yourself.
the success coach.
Yep.
Right.
And at the Y we've got personal trainers. And when we put together a challenge at the Y that's based around fitness, we're talking about these kind of things. And if you want to be successful, we encourage you to find an accountability partner. Sometimes we refer to them as accountability buddies.
Yep.
But somebody to kind of be a positive influence there for you and keep you maybe poke or prod you just a little bit to
Right.
keep on track.
Right. Yeah. So it's important to have people in your life who are going to challenge you to be the best you can be.
Yes.
Right. And those people are going to ask difficult questions.
Mm-hmm.
Those people are going to want to know more about what is your goal, what is it that you're trying to do, and they're going to be intentional about asking, "How's it going, Ryan? How are you doing with that weight loss goal or whatever it is that you're trying to accomplish?" And so when you surround yourselves with people that are motivated to be successful, that's going to rub off on you.
Yeah.
Right.
Folks that have your best interest at heart.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. You're going to learn from those experiences.
Yes.
And then that is in turn going to help propel you forward in how you achieve success.
Mm-hmm.
So we've talked about this, I think, several times in different forms of this vodcast. It's critically important for all of us to have good people in our life that we surround ourselves with, kind of our go-to group of people who can hold us accountable, ask questions, that we can share ideas or concerns about. That goes a long way for everything that we're doing in our life. I'm a firm believer of that, and I think it's really important here too.
Yep.
Because you got to have people in your life that are asking, "How's it going?"
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's kind of the theme of the vodcast, right? Our community.
That's right.
You have to be
right.
set up with the right
Because
people.
if you're relying on your own interpretation of your success, it's flawed because you're biased. Right. You have a built-in bias of your own evaluation. It's easy to talk yourself out of doing things. It's easy to justify distractions for whatever reason if you're just doing it to yourself.
Yep.
It's harder for me to justify a distraction about my life to you
Yes.
than it is to myself.
Yeah.
And that's where the accountability piece comes in, and that's where it's really going to help propel you to be successful. So I think that's critically important. So let's move on to the third one.
Mm-hmm.
The third critical measure is passion, right? And it kind of is what it is. Do you love what you do, right? Are you serious about it? Is this mean something to you?
Yes. And if it doesn't, you need to be convicted to make steps to make the right decisions
To change it.
to change that
Right.
and make those things align.
Right. And I think about someone who's in a job that they don't like, right? And that happens a lot. You're in a situation, but that doesn't mean you have to stay there, right? You know what
Sure.
what you want to do or what you want to be. So what can you do while you're in that situation to help move yourself beyond that, pull yourself out of that, right? But you got to love what you do. And I think when we're talking about measuring success, for me, it's kind of the goal that you've set for yourself. Do you love that goal? And are you going to do whatever it takes to get you to that? Maybe you're in a situation today where, you're not currently doing what it is that you want to do. So you may not love that situation.
Right.
But if you have your sights set on another opportunity or something down the road, what can you do while you're in your current situation to take the steps to get there?
Right.
And it may take days, it may take weeks, it may take years.
Yeah.
But if you truly love it, and if you're passionate about it, it's going to mean something to you, and you're going to do the things that you need to do to get there.
Yeah. And, even if it may not be you want to change jobs, it may be something, your goal may be to lose weight, to get in shape, and you may find that finding some passion for that, if you just loathe working out or you just don't like running or something like that, that's okay. But maybe your passion isn't running, but maybe you can get passionate about some other form of working out, or maybe maybe it's a mindset thing, and you can turn your passion into getting in shape.
Right.
And maybe you just need to think about things.
I think the passion could even be you just want to be healthier.
Yeah.
You want to be there for the people in your life for the longest period of time that you can be. And that could be your motivation.
Right.
The working out is just kind of the tool
Yeah.
that you have to use to get there. And you can bear the burden of that if you don't like it, if you know and believe that by doing this or by eating healthier, all those things that go into it, is going to get me to the goal that I've set for myself.
That's where the conviction comes
lowering
in.
my blood pressure, or
Yep.
reversing my pre-diabetic condition, whatever those things are.
Amen.
So you gotta love it. You gotta love it. It's gotta be important to you in order for you to be able to be successful. And then the fourth and the last critical measure, at least from this perspective, is are you impacting others? And I think this one is one that we overlook far too often. I really do. I don't think we put enough value in the importance of helping others and what that can do for our own benefit.
Right. It's, I came to work for the Y because I personally have always felt better when I feel like the work that I'm doing is helpful to others.
Yep.
I feel good about that instead of being, and I'm not going to talk about what I did in the past, but because it is what it is. But I feel better now working in this space than I did, in more of a for-profit setting where, I didn't feel like what I was doing had a tangible effect on
Right.
the world around me. So for me, that was a choice I made, was to go into the nonprofit space, and I love it. But it doesn't have to just be that. Again, I like to tie things back to fitness. We're the YMCA, and what impact does your health have on your family? If you're a healthy person, you don't have to have somebody taking care of you. You're setting a good example for your kids. You're setting a good example for your grandkids. You are able to help somebody else reach their fitness goals. So
Become an example or an inspiration for others, right?
Yeah.
And I think, like I said, I think we often overlook it as a valuable measurement of our success. But I think the more focus we put on helping others, the more valuable we become to those around us, and the more value we bring to the world around us. I mean, we're living in a time of difficult challenges right now, right? I mean, we're faced with the pandemic and all of the things that surround that,
Right.
all the negativity that surrounds that, and it's out there everywhere. And we need as many people as we can get that are focused on helping others and lifting people up kind of out of some of the burdens that are coming because of that. There's a lot of people out there that are really struggling right now because of the seriousness of COVID and all of the implications that come with that. And we need to be focused on that. And I think when we look at our own personal development, our own professional development through the sphere of How many people am I influencing, or am I doing enough to help those around me to be better because of the things that I'm doing? And it can be done, I believe this, in any professional setting or any personal setting. You can find a way to help somebody,
Right.
no matter what you're doing.
And are the things that you are putting out there to impact others or potentially impacting others, are they positive?
Right.
Are they coming from the right place?
Yep.
And again, back to conviction. The choices we're making about what we're putting out there, moving us in a positive direction. Are we moving forward? Are we just stale? Are we stagnant? Or are they even setting us back?
Yeah. And you know, I always like to take it a little bit of a step further and kind of frame this around the perspective of faith. Mm-hmm. And, you know, for those of us in the world who have a foundation of faith and believe in Scripture and all those things, which I do, that's no secret to you or anybody out there who watches this podcast, but, you know, that's why we're here, is to help others. It's pretty clearly defined in the Bible that you're here to be a positive influence in the lives of others.
Right.
You know, there's a lot of scriptures out there. I actually Googled it today, and hundreds of scriptures that are focused around our purpose of helping others. But just one that I'll share comes from the book of Philippians, and it's chapter 2, verse 4. And I'm sure that, you know, those that are out there that share the faith will have heard this verse. But let each of you look not only to your own interest, but also to the interest of others. I mean, it's plain as day. Help other people. And when you help other people, the what that does for you in lifting you up and building your spirits is tremendous. And I think just spurs your likelihood of being more successful, because you have more energy, you feel better about yourself, you're ready to go because you know that you've made a difference in the lives of others. And if you're just solely focused on yourself, I don't think you get that same energy.
Right. And I think, you know, the word also in there is important, because it's not just think about other people and ignore yourself. It is, but also
Right.
the interests of others.
Oh yeah, you have to be in a good spirit yourself in order to help somebody.
Right.
Right? I mean, you do. So you have to take care of yourself first. I'm no good to anybody around me if I'm not in the right frame of mind.
Right.
Right? So that's critically important too. It's not just focus on everyone else, forget about yourself. That's not what I'm saying at all.
I don't think that's what he was saying there either.
No, well, I'm sure he wasn't. I'm sure he wasn't. Wholeheartedly. So, you know, hopefully this was helpful to those out there. I've enjoyed talking about it with you. Again, Ryan, it's always nice to sit here and just kind of dig into these things month after month. And I know it certainly helps me. But so, you know, I think we're about to wrap up.
Yeah.
For today. Is there anything, other thoughts that you have on success measurements or?
No, I was just going to review them.
Okay.
Conviction, having conviction, making sure you've got those influential relationships.
Yep.
Finding passion or aligning that passion, and then what impact are you having on others?
Right.
And I would be remiss if I didn't say, if you'd like to have an impact on others, you can make a donation to the YMCA's annual scholarship campaign. So shameless plug there, but you really will have an impact on the lives of others if you can reach out and support the YMCA. So thank you. Thanks for having me again.
It's my pleasure. And there's a plethora of opportunities to help others. Just go out, get in your car, drive down the road. You'll see an opportunity to help someone today. I promise you that. Take advantage of that, because it's important. It's important to all of us, and it's important to our own internal success to be able to have that focus. So thanks everyone for joining us today. We're excited to be here, and we look forward to being back with you next month here on Our Community.